Good morning. If you're watching this video, that means it's Sunday morning, October 30th, 2022, and I'm not actually in worship, and yet I'm coming to you this morning to give a little welcome, a little invitation, a little background, a little information. As you probably know, we are attempting to bless those who would like to trick or treat this year. We are calling it a blessing of the costumes. And Halloween is one of those things that gets a little tricky. There are a lot of misconceptions about the day. There are a lot of ideas and practices that may or may not happen that get people kind of worked up, especially when it comes to the church. Halloween and the church are seemingly mutually exclusive, and yet that's not entirely true. We in the church celebrate All Saints' Day, which for us will be next Sunday, November 6th, but really it's November 1st is the day of All Saints' Day. And Halloween is All Hallows Eve, which is All Holy Eve, which is the night before All Saints' Day. Historically, it has been a day of fasting and remembrance and preparation for the day that you remember all of those who have died in the last year. Yes, there are roots to the celebrations of Halloween that trace back to the pagan Celts. They had their harvest festival. It was a time where the seasons were transitioning and people were celebrating the harvest. They were glad that the earth had provided, and they're celebrating all that meant to them. At the same time, part of their theology, their spirituality, was that the veil between this world and that of the dead was thinned, that there was an opportunity for spirits to cross back over and reside in our space. And where the initial Halloween costumes came into practice, where they would dress as various creatures and ghosts to try to thwart the efforts of the dead folks. They would convince them that they too were spirits, and they would be left alone, and they would go door to door asking for gifts and things of that nature. And so just because it's pagan doesn't mean it's devil, doesn't mean it's evil. There is a lot of bad things associated with Halloween. There's also a lot of bad things associated with all the other holidays that we practice or participate in. Christmas, Easter, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, the 4th of July, you name it. Our holidays aren't necessarily that godly, even though they trace their roots back to various festivals and things that started in the Celtic pagan world. The Christian church entered that space and kind of co-opted it, if you will. And so what I'm trying to say is that ultimately we are freed from the power of sin, death, and the devil. God ultimately has say. God ultimately saves by grace through faith. And children in costumes are not a stumbling block to our faith. And we want them to be safe. We want them to have fun. We want them to be the light of Christ in the world. And so if Halloween is your thing and you want to be godly, dress them in a godly way. They could be a shepherd. They could be Joseph. They could be Mary. They could be an angel. They could be King David. They could be, who knows? There are any number of things. And so I would invite you to celebrate with us, to have fun with us, to praise and worship the one true God who lives and reigns over all of us. So with that being said, I will turn this over to Tim, who will lead you through the rest of the announcements and lead you through worship this morning. But please have fun, stick around for treats in the parish hall, come back tonight for trunk or treat in our parking lot, and let's have fun. Let's do this. We are the children of God. Let us act as such and have fun in such places. Amen and amen.